The following program contains shocking assertions of truth. If you suffer from relativism, Randall may not be right for you. Check with your local guru.
Standing for truth in the four corners of America. Fighting for justice on the frontiers of the culture wars. And turning resistance into an art form. The only TV host arrested more times than Mahatma Gandhi, Randall Terry.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I can't even make up stuff that is this crazy. Oh, I hit it. Yeah, that means this show is going to be a landmark program. I know it is. You know what we're going to talk about today? The end of public schools. Yeah, it's on the horizon. Today's program brought to you in part by Child Protective Services. They did what with a newborn baby? They put him in a feeding trough. That's child abuse. Where's the baby? Bethlehem? And by WikiLeaks. Do you know what I know? Let's go to my friend Rusty Cowpoke and see what some deep shouts of wisdom sounds like. Go ahead, Rusty. Say something good.
Hey, welcome back, stranger. You heard about Mr. Mohammed Mahamoud, the guy who tried to bomb the Christmas tree lighting in Portland? Why is it that a New Yorker Times is crying a river for him like he was being coerced to kill innocent folks? I figure Mr. Mohammed was grooming himself for a national tree lighting ceremony that would look more like the 4th of July than Christmas. He wouldn't want to waste such a great first name like Muhammad. Seeing how he is so proud of his first name, maybe he's already groomed himself to repeat history. You folks do know how the Prophet Muhammad started his religion, don't you?
Hello, my friend. Welcome to the program. This program today is designed to get inside your head, to help catechize you or disciple you. And primarily, I'm going to use today's program to show how we have unwittingly been catechized or discipled in the temples of our enemies. Stay with me through this whole show, because at points it's going to be a little rough on your emotions, on your intellect. But if you can stay with me while I shake you, you're going to come out on the other side going, I feel better. I feel good, in fact. Let's go to the news. Today's top story: government schools found guilty of child abuse. Oh, child abuse? What do you mean? Well, actually, I just needed something to say so that I could turn over to that camera over there like this. Yeah, that's why I do that. I have a line. Anyway, what I want to do is show you, using one small example, government schools, or public schools as people call them, to show you how we argue an issue from a false premise, or from the premise of our enemies. So you're going to like this. Ready? Here we go. It's a beautiful day. It's a perfect day. And the people who are in powerful places come to you and to a half a dozen members of your church, your Tea Party group, and they say to you, we want you to write the script to reform public schools. Now, after you perhaps broke into a cold sweat because you're not used to having that kind of authority and not used to pulling on the brain syntax required for such a Herculean effort, you start to say, oh yeah, I get it. All right, I've got some ideas. Ready? Number one, we're going to bring back prayer. Yes, prayer. We're going to bring back prayer in public schools. And number two, we're going to bring back the Bible in public schools, and we're going to even put the 10 Commandments on the walls where children can see them. Oh yeah, this is great. It's getting really good. What else are you going to do? We're going to get sex education out and bring chastity in. Yes, that's what we need in government schools. And, no wait, there's more. We're going to stop co-ed gym. Well, that's it, because, all those hormones going on with those kids, there could be so many problems. Oh, wait, no, I've got a big one. get rid of evolution, bring in creation, intelligent design instruction. Yes, we're going to reform public schools. This is going to be great. Now, what you may not realize is that you just argued in favor of government schools based upon the premise of your adversaries. Now, this is going to hurt. Oh, yes, my mom and my dad, both career public school teachers. My mom still teaches, okay? What is the premise of government schools? At the end of the day, every child deserves an education. No, that's not the premise. Because every child should get an education, but that's not the premise of government schools. The premise of government schools is a Prussian ideal. And it goes like this. Every child, a child of the state. That's it. Every child is a child of the state. It's not your child. It's the state's child. And the state says to you, we shall let you keep little Jimmy or little Susie, and you can raise this child. But we require of you that you put little Jimmy and little Susie into X number of hours of education per week, X number of weeks per year, X number of years for their young life. And if you do not bring little Jimmy and little Susie in line with these demands that we, the benevolent owner and dictator of your child's life, we shall charge you with child neglect or child abuse. And we will take little Jimmy and little Susie from you and put them into foster care. And if need be, take them from you for the rest of their lives and have that child adopted to other parents. Am I right or wrong? At the end of the day, if you don't bow your knee according to the educational demands of the state will take your child. Now, I could be wrong. My memory is somewhere out there that the commandment says, honor your mother and father so that your days might be long upon the land which the Lord your God gives you. Honor your father and your mother, not your uncle, Sam. Yeah, Uncle Sam has not been given a covenantal duty and right over your children. You have. The commandment of God is not to the state, you, thou great state, Caesar, Caesar, you shall raise these children. Render to Caesar the things that are Caesar's. Hello? My children don't belong to Caesar. Now, I can hear people going, oh, what do we do? Children need to be educated. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. And that's why government schools, public schools, are one of the worst things that you can ever do to a child. You want to victimize a child? Put him in government school. Listen to me. Hear me out, my friend. I have to take a break because this man over here in the corner is saying, you got to take a break. Listen to me. Almost 1/3 of all children drop out of high school. And then those who graduate, 1/3 of them are functionally illiterate. They can't read and write. Okay? That's child abuse. Well, we need to put our kids with experts. Yeah, you've got to be an expert to keep a kid that dumb for that long. Because when kids are small, they want to learn. They want to learn to read. They want to learn to write. They want to learn to do math. They're excited when they learn. So the notion that you have to give children to experts and that these experts are the ones that are truly qualified to give your child an education is on its face patently absurd. Imagine any product where 1/3 of them failed before they got off the assembly line and then another 1/3 didn't work when they got to the shelves at Walmart. Hello? I'm going to take a break, talk more about this. You're going to like it. Don't go away. Calm down. Take deep breaths. I can't hear myself think. What are you saying?
Randall always liked my father because of his wit. An old friend of Dad's one morning asked him, "Hi, Ed, how have you been?" And Dad said, "Ever since I got up this morning, I've been sick in bed on 2 chairs."
moments with Moses. The Lord will smite you with consumption, and with fever, inflammation and fiery heat, and with drought and mildew.
Welcome back to the program, friend. It is I, your servant Randall, the philosophical arms dealer for the right-hand side of your brain. Now, let's start right off with a hard question. Randall, are you saying that we should do away with government schools? What was your first clue? Oh, but how would everyone be educated? Oh, we'll have all these dumb children around. That's what we have. Hello? Have you not met adults who can't read? Adults who are the victims of government education? This program is a support group for the victims of government education. When we had the birth of this nation, I believe it was de Tocqueville who came here and said that he could not find one person in 1,000 who could not read. 1 in 1,000. That did not include the slave population, which was a horrifying criminal injustice against God and man. That horrifying evil aside, with free people, without government schools, without land taxes to pay for them, not only could young people read and write, but plowboys were reading a book called Plutarch's Lives, The Illustrious Lives, or Illustrious Lives by Plutarch. Most of us have never heard of Plutarch. We would think that that was some kind of an infection. He caught Plutarch. Oh, that's horrifying. What is it? We have been so dumbed down. Now, why do you think that is? Well, one really simple reason would be, really simple, is that when you have no child left behind, then you anchor every child in the class to the slowest member. So now you've got an entire class that is committed to moving as slow as the slowest person, all right? Number two, the original purpose for government schools on the Prussian model was straight rows, everyone in the same grade. They learn to take orders. Achtung! They learn to be good worker bees in the factories. It wasn't to make children be able to think independently. The Prussian model was actually designed to break independent thinking because they wanted a good army. Do the research. Read the book by John Taylor Gatto called Dumbing Us Down. We're going to put that little, the cover of that book up on the screen for you. Find that book. I don't sell it. One of the best books you could ever buy to understand the debacle of government education. Dumbing Us Down. Now, interestingly, Mr. Gatto was given the New York State Teacher of the Year Award, all right? This is over a decade ago. And during his acceptance speech for this award, he stood in front of over 2,000 of his colleagues and basically rained on their parade and said, we need to completely do away with all public education. Eliminate it. And as you can imagine, teachers were booing, hissing. But this man who spent 27 years teaching in public schools and also did his history came to recognize that the entire system was inherently corrupt, inherently oppressive, and it was built on a faulty premise. Listen to me. Teach a child to read and to write and turn them loose, this is going to sound crazy, in a library. Yeah, you cannot believe the stuff that is secretly hidden away in books. You see these books around me? This is not a green screen. These are real books. If you want to learn in reading history, reading biographies, reading books on logic, philosophy. You don't get that in government schools. You learn how to use a condom. You want to hear the craziest irony? Then I got to take another break. Kids graduate from these godless fascist boxes called government schools, knowing how to use a condom, but they can't read the label. I got to take a quick break. I'll be right back.
Hey, you Republicans, Get ready for real fights. Get ready for real fights. Defund Planned Parenthood. And you Democrats, we're sorry to see you go. Hope you enjoy life in the real world. You might be able to get a nice little job at Starbucks or at Walmart. Huh?
I have no fear of the future. Let us go forward into its mysteries. Let us tear aside the veils which hide it from our eyes, and let us move onward with confidence and courage. Sir Winston Churchill. Welcome back to the program, friend. Well, Randall, do you mean everyone should homeschool? I know that there's a lot of parents out there that just could never homeschool. Guess what? You're right. You're right. And here's the reality. Number one, the one-room schoolhouse, or the group of parents that get together and all pitch in money to hire a teacher, that actually worked. People learned to read and write, and they learned grammar, logic, and rhetoric. So I'm not suggesting that the whole world homeschool. However, if you took away land taxes, property tax, which is the primary basis of funding education, and then parents who had kids said, let's pool our money together and let's hire this teacher and that teacher. It works. It worked for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years for the entire human race. And our experiment with government education is a colossal failure. And let me tell you one other thing about government schools. It makes you a slave, or rather, a serf in your own home. Because of property tax, which funds government education, I hate to tell you this, you don't own your home. Go ahead, pay your mortgage off tomorrow. And then see what happens if you don't pay your property tax. Doesn't matter if you've got kids. Doesn't matter if you've got kids in school. The government puts a gun to your head and says, you will give us money to educate someone else's children, or we will take your home. Last I heard, that sounds like more like medieval serfdom than it does freedom. So let's give an overview of government schools. You've got a school system where the premise is that the state owns your child, that experts would do a better job indoctrinating your child so that your child would be a good little worker, be in a factory, not too smart to think independently, really a prey to propaganda, and that if you don't pay your property tax to fund this debacle, we're going to steal your home. Does that sound like freedom to you? I don't know a parent who doesn't want their child to know how to read and write and doesn't want their child to learn. But I know about an awful lot of parents who trusted the minds of their children into the hands of the experts for 13 years. And those parents are heartbroken. And those children have been robbed. It is disgusting. It's vulgar. And the whole system is driven by messianic statists who think that they know what's best for us and our children, and by teachers' unions. People will say, Randall's out of his mind to talk about the end of government schools. No, I'm not the one who needs to be on trial. This whole debacle needs to be on trial because it is a patent failure. I again close this section asking this question. What company could survive if nearly 1/3 of its products self-destructed before they got to the end of the manufacturing line, and then 1/3 of them didn't work when they were on the shelves at Walmart? Think about it. Teach your child to read and write and turn them loose in a library, studying the things that they have a proclivity towards, and they're going to be educated. I'll be right back. You will not fear the terror of the night, nor the arrow that flies by day, nor the pestilence that stalks in darkness, nor the destruction that wastes at noonday. James Madison said, "The advancement and diffusion of knowledge is the only guardian of true liberty." Fred, let me close by saying this. I honor teachers. Teaching is a vocation. It's literally a calling of God. So if you're a teacher and you're called by God to teach young people, God bless you. What I want is a framework in which you can actually be successful in your vocation, not hemmed in by the insane rules and regulations and ideals that govern the American school system, which is built on the failed Prussian model. Think about this and remember, most of us were catechized in the temples of our enemies. God bless you.